What if the real reason you can't lose belly fat isn't about willpower or cutting carbs, but a hormone your doctor already knows about? Most people try to fight fat with stricter diets, longer workouts, or fasting windows that feel impossible to maintain. But what if your body is simply following the instructions it's been given by a single, powerful hormone, insulin? Insulin's job is to move sugar from your blood into your cells for energy. But when insulin levels stay high for too long from stress, sleep deprivation, or constant snacking, your cells stop listening. This is called insulin resistance. And when that happens, your body doesn't just stop burning fat, it actually starts storing it, especially around your belly and organs. That's visceral fat, the deep, dangerous kind linked to heart disease and inflammation. The good news is your body isn't broken. You can retrain it to become insulin sensitive again. And when you do, something incredible happens. Your cravings calm down, your energy steadies, and your metabolism naturally starts to burn fat around the clock. Doctors and researchers have identified a simple insulin hack that helps reset this hormonal balance faster and more effectively than keto or intermittent fasting alone. It's not about deprivation or willpower. It's about restoring communication between your hormones and your metabolism so your body knows it's safe to let go of stored fat. When you understand how insulin really works, you realize fat loss isn't a fight. It's a process of working with your biology, not against it. Once you learn this hack and apply it correctly, your body begins to do what it's always been designed to do: burn fuel efficiently, balance blood sugar, and naturally shrink visceral fat. Insulin is often misunderstood. Most people hear about it only in the context of diabetes, but insulin actually plays a central role in how your body manages energy. It's like the traffic controller of your metabolism. Every time you eat, especially something containing carbohydrates, your blood sugar rises. In response, your pancreas releases insulin to direct that sugar into your cells, where it can be used as fuel. Think of insulin as the signal that tells your body, there's fuel available, let's store some for later. Under normal circumstances, this system works beautifully. Insulin rises after you eat. Your body takes what it needs for energy, and the rest is stored in your muscles and liver for short-term use. Once your cells are full and energy needs are met, insulin levels fall back down, giving your body permission to start burning fat again between meals. That's the natural rhythm, a balance between storing and burning energy. The problem begins when this rhythm is constantly disrupted. Today's world keeps insulin elevated far more often than it should be. Processed foods filled with refined sugars and flours spike blood sugar rapidly, triggering repeated surges of insulin. Stress hormones like cortisol also push blood sugar higher, meaning your pancreas must release even more insulin to compensate. Even poor sleep can throw off this balance, making your cells less responsive and forcing your body to produce more insulin just to keep up. When insulin levels stay high day after day, your cells begin to tune out its signal, much like how your ears tune out constant background noise. This is insulin resistance. Your pancreas tries to overcome that resistance by releasing even more insulin. But the result is that your body gets stuck in storage mode. The fat you eat and the energy you already have stored are locked away, unavailable for use. You might feel tired, hungry, and sluggish, not because you lack fuel, but because your body can't access it. This is why so many people struggle with belly fat even when they eat less or exercise more. When insulin is high, your body doesn't want to burn fat. It wants to store it. It's following hormonal instructions, not ignoring your effort. The extra weight that gathers around your abdomen, especially the deep visceral fat that wraps around organs, is a reflection of this hormonal imbalance. It's not about laziness or slow metabolism. It's your body trying to protect itself by keeping energy close at hand in case it's needed. So, how do you break this cycle? The key isn't starvation or extreme dieting. Those approaches can make things worse by increasing stress and cortisol, which only raise insulin further. Instead, the goal is to restore insulin sensitivity, to help your body hear insulin's message again. That means creating moments when insulin can fall naturally, allowing your fat stores to open up and release energy. One way to do that is by focusing on foods that keep your blood sugar stable, whole, unprocessed foods rich in fiber, protein, and healthy fats. These foods digest more slowly, releasing glucose into your bloodstream in a steady, manageable way. Regular movement, even gentle activity like walking after meals, helps your muscles soak up more glucose without needing as much insulin. Prioritizing quality sleep and managing stress also play a huge role. since both directly influence how sensitive your cells are to insulin signal. As your insulin levels stabilize, something subtle but powerful happens. Your body shifts from being a constant energy hoarder to a balanced energy manager. Your hunger cues become more accurate. You stop craving sugar every few hours. Your energy becomes steady and predictable. And most importantly, your body finally feels safe enough to release stored fat, especially the stubborn visceral fat that clings around your midsection. Understanding insulin's true role changes everything about how we approach fat loss. It's not about cutting out all carbs or pushing through endless hunger. It's about re-establishing communication within your body, letting insulin rise and fall naturally so your metabolism can function as it was designed to. When you stop fighting your hormones and start working with them, your body begins to heal its energy balance. That's when fat loss stops being a battle and start becoming a byproduct of a healthy, regulated system. Insulin resistance doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual shift that develops quietly, often over years. In the beginning, everything works as it should. Your body eats, your pancreas releases insulin, and your cells open their doors to take in glucose for energy. But over time, as insulin levels stay elevated too often, those cell doors stop opening as easily. It's like using the same key so many times that it eventually wears down. It doesn't fit the lock anymore. Insulin keeps knocking, but the cells barely respond. Imagine your body's communication system like an inbox. Every meal you eat sends a message, a signal that energy is available. In a healthy system, those messages get read, acted on, and cleared. But when you're constantly snacking, drinking sugary beverages, or dealing with stress, your inbox fills up with too many unread messages. Eventually, your cells become overwhelmed. They start ignoring the signals altogether. This is the essence of insulin resistance. Your body's way of saying, I can't handle any more right now. When cells stop responding to insulin's instructions, glucose builds up in the bloodstream. The pancreas, trying to help, releases even more insulin. But that extra insulin doesn't fix the problem, it deepens it. With insulin levels staying high, your body interprets that as a command to keep storing energy instead of burning it. The glucose that doesn't get used for fuel gets converted into fat, particularly around the liver and abdomen. Over time, this creates fatty deposits not just under the skin, but deep inside your body. Around organs like the liver, pancreas, and intestines. That's visceral fat, and it's far more metabolically active and dangerous than the fat you can pinch. This buildup sets off a cascade of problems. As insulin resistance grows, your cells struggle to get the energy they need. Even though there's plenty of fuel available in your bloodstream, you start to feel tired, foggy, and hungry all the time. Your body keeps craving sugar and refined carbs because it's desperate for quick energy, unaware that it's already surrounded by stored fuel it can't access. It's like sitting in a locked pantry full of food, but having no key to open it. This is why so many people feel trapped in a cycle of fatigue and overeating. You eat to boost your energy, but the resulting insulin surge only locks more fat away. The more you try to diet your way out by cutting calories or skipping meals, the more stressed your system becomes. Stress hormones like cortisol rise, pushing your blood sugar even higher, which again triggers more insulin release. It's a loop that keeps you stuck, hungry, exhausted, and frustrated. What makes insulin resistance so tricky is that most people don't know they have it. You can be developing it for years before your blood sugar tests show anything abnormal. The earliest signs are often subtle. Midsection weight gain that doesn't respond to normal diet changes, persistent cravings, feeling tired after meals, or waking up unrefreshed. These are your body's quiet signals that something deeper is out of balance. And here's where most diets go wrong. They focus on calorie math, eat less, move more, while ignoring the hormonal messaging system that actually controls whether your body stores or burns energy. If insulin remains high, it doesn't matter how clean your diet is or how many hours you spend at the gym. Your metabolism will still be locked in storage mode. The problem isn't just the amount of food, it's how your body processes and responds to it. Restoring insulin sensitivity requires a different approach. Instead of depriving your body, you need to re-establish communication between insulin and your cells. That means reducing constant insulin spikes by choosing foods that don't flood your bloodstream with sugar. It means allowing time between meals so insulin can fall back to baseline. And it means supporting your body with stress management, better sleep, and consistent movement, all of which make your cells more receptive again. Once that connection is restored, everything changes. your body begins to unlock stored energy. Your cravings fade because your brain finally senses steady fuel. You feel clear-headed and energized rather than drained after eating. And your body, no longer trapped in fat storage mode, naturally begins to burn through the reserves it's been holding onto, especially around your belly and organs. When you understand insulin resistance as a communication breakdown rather than a personal failure, the path to fat loss becomes clearer and more compassionate. You don't have to fight your body into submission. You just have to teach it how to listen again. There's one simple change that doctors and researchers consistently point to as a breakthrough for restoring insulin sensitivity. And it's not a new diet supplement or magic pill. It's something so practical and accessible that anyone can start today how and when you eat or move. This small shift may seem almost too simple, but science shows it can dramatically lower insulin levels, reduce cravings, and turn your body back into a fat-burning machine. Let's start with one of the easiest versions of this insulin hack, a short, light movement after meals. Just 10 to 15 minutes of gentle walking, stretching, or even household chores can make a remarkable difference. When you move your muscles soon after eating, they act like sponges, soaking up glucose from your bloodstream without needing as much insulin. This keeps your blood sugar levels stable and prevents those sharp spikes that lead to fat storage. Studies show that even short, low-intensity movement after meals can cut post-meal blood sugar levels by up to 30%. That means less insulin is needed, and your body can start shifting back into balance. If you prefer a food-based approach, another version of this hack is protein first eating, simply starting each meal with a source of protein before eating your carbs. When you eat protein first, it slows digestion and reduces the speed at which glucose enters your bloodstream. This keeps your insulin response gentle and steady instead of sharp and high. Over time, this small sequence change, literally the order of how you eat, helps retrain your body to release insulin in healthier rhythms. It also helps you feel fuller longer, reduces cravings, and evens out your energy through the day. For others, the most effective version of this hack might be meal timing, creating consistent eating windows that give your insulin levels time to drop between meals. This doesn't mean extreme fasting, it's about spacing meals far enough apart to let your body complete its natural energy cycle. When you're constantly grazing or snacking, insulin never gets a chance to fall. But when you allow a few hours between meals, your body transitions into fat burning mode once insulin levels lower. Over time, this gentle rhythm helps your metabolism run more efficiently without the stress or deprivation of traditional fasting plans. What makes this hack so powerful is its simplicity and sustainability. You're not cutting out entire food groups, counting calories, or depriving yourself. You're simply working with your biology, aligning your daily habits with how your body was designed to manage energy. Our ancestors didn't snack every 2 hours or live under chronic stress. Their bodies naturally cycled between using food for fuel and burning stored energy. This hack restores that lost balance. Once you begin applying it, you'll notice subtle changes that build over time. Your energy no longer crashes mid-afternoon. Your cravings for sugar and quick carbs start to fade. You feel steady, clear-headed, and less controlled by hunger. And slowly, the fat around your midsection, the stubborn visceral fat that resists dieting, begins to shrink. Not because you're forcing your body, but because you've stopped giving it mixed signals. Doctors often emphasize that this approach is so effective because it addresses the real root cause, chronically high insulin. When insulin levels normalize, the fat cells that were previously locked finally open up, releasing stored energy into circulation. Your metabolism becomes flexible again, effortlessly switching between burning food and burning fat. That's the hallmark of a healthy metabolic system, adaptability, not restriction. This kind of small, consistent change also has benefits far beyond fat loss. Lower insulin and blood sugar fluctuations mean better mood stability, deeper sleep, improved focus, and lower inflammation. Over time, it can reduce your risk of developing metabolic conditions like type 2 diabetes or fatty liver disease. It's not just about looking better, it's about rebuilding your metabolic health from the inside out. The beauty of this hack is that it doesn't require perfection. If you can take a short walk after meals, eat your protein first, or create a simple rhythm around your meals, you're already training your insulin response to work for you. The body loves consistency. These small, doable steps signal safety to your nervous system and balance to your hormones, which in turn allows your metabolism to calm down and operate smoothly. When you apply this doctor-recommended insulin hack, you're not forcing your body into a state of deprivation. You're guiding it back into alignment with its natural design, a rhythm where food becomes energy, not storage. Over time, those small daily choices compound into big metabolic wins. Your body becomes more responsive, more energetic, and more capable of burning fat, not just while you're dieting, but all day, every day. When most people think of insulin, they think of metabolism and fat storage, but this hormone does far more than manage energy. Insulin is deeply tied to your brain, mood, focus, and emotional stability. When your blood sugar and insulin levels swing up and down throughout the day, it doesn't just affect your waistline. It affects how you feel, think, and behave. The mind and body are in constant conversation, and insulin is one of the main messengers in that dialogue. When insulin is balanced, your body maintains steady blood sugar. That means your brain receives a consistent supply of energy, which is essential for clear thinking and emotional regulation. Your brain runs almost entirely on glucose, and it's extremely sensitive to changes in blood sugar levels. When blood sugar spikes, your energy surges, but when it crashes, your mood and focus crash too. You might feel irritable, anxious, or foggy, and often your brain interprets that drop as hunger, pushing you to reach for quick carbs or sugary snacks to bring levels back up. This is the emotional eating cycle that so many people find themselves caught in. Over time, these constant ups and downs create not just physical fatigue, but emotional instability. You might notice patterns, morning crankiness, afternoon energy dips, or that hangry feeling before dinner. These are your body's subtle ways of saying that your blood sugar and insulin balance are off. When insulin remains elevated, your cells can't use glucose efficiently, so your brain struggles to access energy even when there's plenty available. That's why insulin resistance often feels like mental fog. It's not just your metabolism that's stuck, your brain is too. When you start to restore insulin sensitivity, it's not just your body that changes. Your mind does too. Stable insulin means steady blood sugar, and that steadiness creates emotional calm. Your mood stops swinging from high to low. Focus becomes easier because your brain isn't constantly distracted by cravings or fatigue. You start to feel more grounded, more patient, and more in control of your choices. That's because your brain's reward and motivation centers are finally running on a stable energy supply. There's also a powerful connection between insulin and stress hormones like cortisol. When blood sugar crashes, cortisol rises to bring it back up. But that same stress hormone can make you anxious, wired, and tense. High cortisol, in turn, increases insulin resistance, creating a feedback loop between stress and metabolism. Balancing insulin naturally helps calm this system. It signals safety to your body, which lowers cortisol levels and reduces chronic stress responses. The result is not just better fat burning, but a sense of emotional steadiness that feels like relief after years of internal turbulence. Many people describe this balance as a sense of peace in their body. You stop feeling at war with your hunger or your energy levels. You wake up refreshed instead of sluggish. You can go longer between meals without crashing or craving sugar. And emotionally, you start responding to life's challenges with more patience and clarity because your nervous system isn't constantly being hijacked by blood sugar swings. Supporting this balance doesn't require perfection, just gentle, consistent habits that nurture both your body and your mind. Simple things like eating protein with every meal, drinking water before coffee, or taking a brief walk after eating can have profound effects on your hormonal rhythm. Getting sunlight in the morning, practicing slow breathing, and winding down at night without screens all help regulate your circadian rhythm. And that, in turn, supports insulin balance. Sleep is one of the most underestimated tools here. Just one night of poor sleep can raise insulin resistance the next day, while consistent rest restores sensitivity. Mindful eating also plays a major role. When you slow down and pay attention to your meals, noticing flavors, textures, and how full you feel, you reduce stress around food. This mindfulness lowers cortisol and helps your body process food more efficiently. The act of eating calmly tells your nervous system, "We're safe, we can digest." That small sense of safety ripples outward, improving hormonal communication across your whole body. When insulin is balanced, your body and mind start working as partners again. You don't have to rely on caffeine for focus or sugar for comfort because your brain already has the steady fuel it needs. Your emotions become less reactive, your thoughts clearer, and your energy more predictable. It's a reminder that emotional health isn't just psychological, it's biochemical. By supporting your insulin balance, you're not only improving your metabolism, but also creating the internal stability that makes peace, focus, and joy easier to sustain. Many people turn to keto or intermittent fasting when they want to lose fat quickly, and at first they often see impressive results. The scale moves, energy improves, and cravings fade for a while, but then something strange happens. Progress slows, fatigue creeps in, and those same strategies that once worked so well begin to feel harder and less effective. This frustrating plateau isn't about a lack of discipline. It's about the difference between us managing calories and as Harriet is regulating hormones. And the hormone that matters most here is insulin. Keto and fasting both work initially because they naturally lower insulin levels in the short term. When you cut carbs, your body produces less insulin. When you go without food for several hours, insulin drops further, allowing stored fat to be released for fuel. This can create powerful metabolic changes early on. But if insulin resistance, the root cause of stubborn fat, hasn't been resolved, your body eventually pushes back. It begins to interpret these long fasting windows or extreme carb cuts as stress. When your body senses stress, it releases cortisol, the main stress hormone. Cortisol's job is to keep your blood sugar from dropping too low, so it signals your liver to release glucose. This can cause blood sugar spikes even when you haven't eaten, forcing your pancreas to release more insulin again. In other words, even though you're fasting or avoiding carbs, your stress hormones can keep insulin high. Over time, that blunts your progress and slows your metabolism. This is one of the main reasons why many people on strict keto or aggressive fasting plans end up feeling drained, anxious, or stuck. Their bodies are under constant stress, which not only raises cortisol and insulin, but also suppresses thyroid function, the very system that controls metabolism. You may burn fat initially, but if your metabolism slows down in response, the fat loss becomes harder to maintain. Your body starts conserving energy instead of burning it. Another hidden issue with these extreme approaches is that they can disrupt appetite and satiety hormones. Keto, for example, often reduces hunger at first, but after months of very low carb intake, leptin and ghrelin, the hormones that control fullness and hunger, can become imbalanced. That's why some people find themselves binging or craving carbs intensely after periods of restriction. The body isn't failing, it's trying to restore balance. The truth is, your body doesn't want extremes. It wants communication, a metabolic system that's flexible enough to switch between burning glucose and burning fat with ease. That's what true insulin sensitivity allows. When your cells respond properly to insulin, your body doesn't need drastic measures to burn fat. It can efficiently use energy from both food and fat stores. You can eat balanced meals, enjoy real carbs from fruit or whole grains, and still stay in fat-burning mode because your insulin rises and falls the way it's meant to. Improving insulin sensitivity transforms how these methods work. For example, gentle fasting, like simply avoiding snacks between meals, becomes powerful when your body can easily access stored energy. You don't feel shaky or ravenous because your metabolism is flexible. Similarly, moderate carb intake no longer leads to fat gain because your cells know what to do with glucose. They use it for fuel instead of storing it. You get the metabolic freedom to eat a variety of foods without triggering the hormonal chaos that keeps people stuck in the diet cycle. This is why sustainable fat loss isn't about how little you can eat. It's about how efficiently your body uses what you eat. Once insulin sensitivity is restored, your body can finally switch off fat storage and turn on fat burning automatically. You no longer have to micromanage calories or avoid entire food groups. You can eat satisfying meals with protein, fiber, and healthy fats, and your body will naturally keep blood sugar and insulin in check. It's also important to remember that insulin doesn't work in isolation. It interacts with every other hormone: cortisol, thyroid, estrogen, and even dopamine. When insulin is balanced, these hormones align more smoothly. Your stress response calms down, your thyroid functions optimally, and your brain chemistry stabilizes, which helps you feel more motivated and less reactive. That's why restoring insulin sensitivity doesn't just change your body, it changes how you feel inside it. So while keto and fasting can be useful tools, they're not long-term solutions unless they're paired with restored insulin sensitivity. Think of them as jump starts, not destinations. The real transformation happens when your body learns to regulate insulin naturally through balanced meals, regular movement, quality sleep, and consistent rhythms. That's the foundation that allows you to enjoy flexibility, energy, and sustainable fat loss No extremes required. When your body trusts that it's safe and well nourished, it stops clinging to fat as a survival mechanism. You can finally eat to satisfaction, live without fear of regaining weight, and let your metabolism do what it was always designed to do: maintain balance effortlessly. That's the quiet power of working with your biology instead of forcing it into extremes. The most powerful transformations don't come from doing something extreme for a few weeks. They come from creating balance that lasts a lifetime. Once you understand how insulin shapes your metabolism, the goal isn't to chase short-term fat loss. It's to build a lifestyle where your body naturally stays in fat-burning mode without constant struggle. That's what metabolic flexibility really means: your body being able to move smoothly between using carbs for quick energy and fat for long-term fuel, depending on what it needs. When your metabolism is flexible, food becomes a source of nourishment, not stress. You don't panic after eating something sweet or feel guilty for enjoying a meal out. Your body knows how to handle it. Insulin rises just enough to do its job, then falls back to baseline, signaling your body that it's safe to burn stored fat again. You stop feeling trapped by diets or fear of food because your body and hormones are finally on the same team. Making this insulin hack a long-term habit starts with consistency rather than perfection. Choose 1 or 2 simple habits that fit easily into your routine. Maybe it's taking a 10-minute walk after meals, eating protein first, or spacing meals out instead of constant snacking. These actions may seem small, but their impact compounds over time. Each one helps your cells stay sensitive to insulin's signal, keeping your blood sugar stable and your metabolism efficient. Over the weeks and months, these habits begin to feel effortless. You'll notice you can go longer between meals without crashing. You'll have steady energy throughout the day, and the fatigue that once followed big meals starts to disappear. That's your metabolism healing, your body remembering how to manage energy the way it's meant to. Rest is another crucial part of long-term insulin balance. Many people underestimate how deeply sleep and recovery influence metabolism. When you don't get enough sleep, your body produces more cortisol, which raises blood sugar and insulin. Chronic sleep deprivation can undo the progress you've made, even if your diet is perfect. On the other hand, consistent rest helps regulate every hormonal system, from appetite to stress management. A rested body is a cooperative body, one that burns energy efficiently and maintains balance naturally. Mindful eating also anchors this lifestyle. Instead of eating on autopilot or multitasking through meals, take time to slow down. Notice how your food tastes, how full you feel, and how your body responds afterward. This awareness reduces stress, supports digestion, and helps you recognize true hunger versus emotional eating. When eating becomes intentional rather than rushed, your body processes food more smoothly and your insulin rhythm stays steady. Movement, too, becomes more about nourishment than punishment. You don't need intense workouts to stay in fat-burning mode. In fact, overtraining can increase cortisol and stall progress. Gentle, consistent activity, walking, yoga, resistance training, or even dancing helps your muscles stay insulin sensitive while keeping your nervous system calm. Think of movement as communication. Every step tells your body we're using energy, we're safe, and we don't need to store excess fat. Over time, these small, steady habits create an environment where your metabolism thrives. Your body learns to trust that food will come regularly, that it can burn energy freely, and that it doesn't have to cling to fat for safety. You'll start noticing that your weight stays stable even through holidays, social events, or occasional indulgences. That's the power of balance. You no longer need to get back on track because you never really leave it. The beauty of this approach is how freeing it feels. You're no longer trapped in cycles of guilt, restriction, or confusion about what to eat. You understand your body's signals when it needs rest, when it's satisfied, when it's stressed. You move from controlling your body to collaborating with it. That's where true sustainability lives, not in rigid diets, but in daily rhythms that align with your biology. Healing your metabolism means shifting from survival mode to balance mode. It's realizing that your body doesn't need to be forced into change. It needs to be supported. Fat loss, stable energy, and emotional peace all flow from that support. When you nourish your metabolism with rest, consistency, and mindful care, your body responds with gratitude in the form of steady energy, calm hunger, and lasting health. That's not a temporary fix. That's the foundation for lifelong fat burning and well-being.